Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Christian, for that great summary of all that we have been talking about and listening to today. I want to know if there's anybody that has any questions, or that was clear, because I thought it was clear. And yes, indeed, we need to answer the call ASAP. Right now, there is a great spiritual shift happening. And we need to get our foot in the door before that we go another few decades, not putting ourselves in a good position for sovereignty. Okay, thank you so much. There's Prophet Anyanu, who is got a question. Can please come through and please keep it concise.
I should probably lower my hand then because I'm not sure that I can do that. I'm not, and I have the information for our speaker. It's been a great conference, symposium, a lot of great knowledge. I came to when Siphiwe invited me for looking for solutions and how spirituality can be used for liberation, for moving forward for African people. Um, you said I can be in touch with you so I can bring to the table whatever I can bring. I'm not clear on the mathematical solution. I am clear that the speaker is very knowledgeable, and a number of the speakers have been. Um, I'm looking for how what we have spiritually can stop leaders who sell away the rights, how to keep the people from getting in line for vaccines that are designed to kill them, how to have food when they, co-opt the land and destroy it. So I'm looking for spiritual solutions to some earthly kind of dilemmas, and I'm not sure that I have that answer, but I do want to be at the table. So I'll be.
Thank you so much for that. Those are very, 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 very critical concerns, that you've shared with us. Is there anybody else who has a question? Mm. Anybody else with a comment?
Chair,
Yes.
I realized I didn't share my slides.
Yes.
But nobody alerted me, so I thought I was sharing my slides, and I didn't share my slides. So my apologies.
No worries.
Yeah.
We'll just we will share them on the ACIPS website, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, I will.
So
Thanks.
people will have
Um,
access to them, and
thank
also
you.
the
Yeah, sorry. Can I comment on the prophet's point
yes.
about not knowing how mathematics comes in? But that's precisely my point. That that the transformation of Africa cannot proceed without mathematics. That's the point I am making. I'm not saying that we should all be mathematicians. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to be mindful that um, the transformation of Africa is also a mathematical project. You see, because you have to design cities, you have to design spaces for people to live. This is not just spiritual. It's not just spiritual. It's also mathematical, because the spiritual is mathematical. That's the point I am making. And I was suggesting, sorry I didn't share the stuff, but this is what Nkrumah came up with in order to map out what needs to be done. I am saying that these set theoretic terms are mathematical, and he left this for us. And I am suggesting that we are not using this tool. And so I am suggesting to us, as my contribution to this symposium, I'm trying to encourage us to please look in this direction. So that is the point I am making. So I am not assuming that we, for instance, are aware or know or are even interested in the link between spirituality and mathematics. I am not assuming that at all. But be that as it may, I am suggesting that Africa cannot be transformed. Africa will not develop in the absence of the mathematical sciences as the highest expression of Africans. That is the point I am making. If we think that is possible, then we don't understand what we are talking about. Okay, and I'm also suggesting that spirituality, in terms of the internal monitor, the inner voice, however we want to craft it, I am saying that that voice, when it speaks to you, also speaks mathematics. That's the point I am making. When brother Asamoah talks about the drum and the rhythm and the agbaja and so on, these are also mathematics. They are mathematical. So that is what I am suggesting. Spirituality without mathematics or the mathematical sciences, I am saying that it won't transform us. And I'm also suggesting that we need to also take on board the idea that our ancestors, from what Brother Siphiwe shared with us, which was shared in the modern form by brother Mafole, in a different language, that is what I am hearing them telling us. Because Pet Heru, Ma'at, which is a proportionality, order, and so on, these are fractions, if you like. They are fractions. All right? These are proportionality is a fraction. Proportionality means that different fractions, no matter what the numerator and the denominator, are ultimately equal. That is what we mean by something is proportional. And I am suggesting to us that we know these things, they are already in us, but we have been, in a way, we have been fragmented from that consciousness. So I think I hope I have clarified, the link between spirituality. I mean, you could argue that God or the spiritual or the ancestors or whatever, that ultimately they are also mathematical beings, that God is a mathematician, if you like, that the universe is mathematical, etc., etc. Thank you.
May I comment quickly here, Bwalya?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to concur 1,000%. I'm using an incorrect mathematical phrase on purpose. Can I comment? Can I say, well, I agree with you 1,000%, but maybe at least 800%. Mathematicians will tell me you cannot go more than 100%. But I'm commenting at that how much. That's how much I'm actually agreeing.
You can go as
I want to say this
even
very
a
quickly.
1,000,000%, brother.
Excuse me?
You can go. It's a percent.
Infinite.
Yeah,
Infinite
percent can go
percentage.
beyond 100. Yes, it can be 5 million, 20 million. Doesn't matter,
Okay.
as long as you are expressing.
That's how much I am concurring with you. But I need to say this.
Please do.
Africa is not an island in the planet. Africa is surrounded by various other civilizations. And it is very important for this Africa, this great African continent that is not an island, to understand that and understand and understand that every other civilization has used mathematics as a form of to evolve itself from one space to another. The journey to outer space requires maths. Like you've already mentioned, to build infrastructure, to build anything, you require maths. The ancient Kemetic per Ankh, or so-called pyramids, it's mathematical precision that has to do with the galaxy itself, the stars themselves. It's mathematical precision. I want to say this. I recently, with the Institute of Africology, we did some work, a debate on an Africa Day debate. It's a very interesting school, the best school that I've been to in a long time. The school is called the Anton Lembede School of Mathematics, Science, and Innovation. Right. It's a school that starts at grade 8, goes to grade 12, and then the children get to choose which university that they can go to in order to pursue their careers. But the thing that I saw, the conversation I had with the principal in the School of Mathematics, Sciences, and Innovation, the conversation I had with the principal was about, okay, the debate was about culture and African history. The children who are studying maths were taught by the Institute of Africology to understand Pan-African history and African history in general, including the diaspora. They debated, and it was a very amazing debate. Kings were there, the healers were there, different people with their parents were there. But the conversation I had with the principal was about how about extending the school so that they don't go to a Western, so-called Western university after they graduate. Why can't we extend the Lembede school? Asking what would it take to take this very school of innovation in mathematics and physics that is very Afrocentric? The school is very Afrocentric, the only one that I've seen. Why can't it become a university? Why can't it become a technical college? Why can't it become just basically an institution of higher learning? Because otherwise they'll go to DUT or they'll go to university, they'll go to any other university. Somehow, some way, they will unlearn what they have learned at their school, high school level. So I just wanted to concur with that and say, really, mathematics, the ancient, the Jews, they have a system called the Kabbalah, which is a very spiritual, mysterious system, but it's all about basically describing their Yahweh as a mathematical, as an infinite mathematical symbol, that you cannot name, and it's unnameable, ineffable, whatever. You go to the Yoruba, I think someone mentioned yesterday in yesterday's presentation that what the Babalawo is doing is actually calculating for you. It's not just a fortune telling or something. They are calculating for you your destiny, the things you need to change in your life. Similarly, Sangoma here in Southern Africa, some of us who are initiated, we were taught, what does this bone mean? What does this other element mean? What does this element mean? When you are learning these things, you can see that actually what you are being taught here is very symbolic mathematics, highly, highly deeply symbolic mathematics that have to do with your tradition, because you can't just have 20 bones. You have to have a certain amount of bones. But when you're throwing for royalty, there's a different approach. When you're throwing for ordinary people, different people at a different level, math basically permeates everything that we walk around. I just wanted to say that. Even the computer that we are using, it's all mathematical algorithms, giving thanks, ones and zeros.
Yeah. Thank you. I also concur with what you've said, and I think that if that institution could listen to you and become what you've said, that will be great. As we all know, maybe apart from South Africa, that had more advanced centers of learning than the rest of the continent, minus the 8 independent states that were never colonized, like Ethiopia, those who were free before 1945. I'm talking about Ethiopia, those countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, apart from those countries, and South Africa that were ahead. If you take Ghana, for instance, we never had a school of medicine, you see. So if you wanted to be a doctor, or you read law, you have to, if you have medicine, you had to go and train outside Africa, outside Africa, as it were. It was only when we got independence that the post-colonial government of Kwame Nkrumah, then through networking with Africans who knew what they were doing, that Ghana set up the first medical school. And that medical school means that we don't need to train our sons and daughters abroad to be doctors, dentists, to be medical doctors, surgeons, dentists, etc., etc. And so I concur with you that from what I can see, please, I am not suggesting that what I am sharing with you is mainstream. what I'm sharing with you is not necessarily mainstream. The mathematics profession itself does not necessarily agree that mathematics is spiritual. So I am only sharing this from an African perspective because of what I have seen. And as I said, this is research I am doing. It's not the final answer. And so if I was to say to you, what if the book of the coming forth, what people call the Egyptian book of the dead, what if I said that that's actually a mathematical subjects being hidden or being, if you like, coded? What if I told you that? What if I told you that the 42, the laws of Ma'at, that those laws are actually mathematics rendered in that form for easy assimilation? What if I said that, etc., etc.? You see, so I'm not suggesting that this is mainstream. What mathematics does agree and physics is that in Congo you can find the oldest mathematical artifact called the Ishango bone. Now that is on the continent. Therefore, they see the continent as the profession as a whole, as far as I understand it today, accepts that Africa is the origin of mathematics, because of the Ishango bone. And as I said, the history of mathematics itself, if you look at the readings that universities provide their students that look at the history of mathematics, you see clearly the Greeks themselves saying that they were taught by the Africans, you see, etc., etc., etc. So as I said, I'm not suggesting what I'm saying is mainstream, but I am suggesting this to you because as Africans, we have a link to, we find spirituality important. For us, you cannot just have the physical without the spirit. And so, you see, for us, when we say materialism, we don't mean physicality. We mean both that which is seen and unseen. And that's why when the intangible phenomenon, ACIP, when I first came across Brother Benny, I thought this is interesting, because until I met Brother Benny, no one, as far as I knew, was talking about intangible phenomena. Oh, then I met Brother Samoa, who then really opened the gates. He was talking about speaking to the spirits, and I was like, wow. So Brother Menzi, I'm agreeing with you that if that institution can do what you have said, that would be great. But then you see, why don't we Africanize it? In other words, why don't we have such an institution as a continental institution into which all of us buy into, not just South Africa, but Mozambique, Malawi, DR Congo, Ghana, etc. And then we have branches of that university nearer where people live. And in a similar way that our medical students don't need to go abroad to be medical doctors, in the same way, we will have mathematicians or spiritualists who also are alive to the internal monitor, the divine voice, if you like. There's still small voice, a conscience that will have them on the continent, and they don't have to travel. And by the way, this is not new. Euclid, the father of geometry, some will say the father of mathematics, for 2,000 years in the West. Euclid was an African. He never traveled outside the continent. He was born on our continent. He grew up on our continent. He wrote on our continent. And he is the one that brought together the teachings and unified them into a book called The Elements. It was all done in Africa. He didn't have to travel anywhere. Of course, we had relationships with the Indians, the Persians, etc., etc. That was there. So we're not saying that mathematics as a whole was an African thing, because there was cross-fertilization of ideas and so on. There were things that the Indians invented that we didn't. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These numbers were invented by our brothers. Some will say our black our black brothers and sisters, the Hindus, because the Hindus I think are very dark like us, that they gave birth to 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So yeah. So as you can hear from me, I can go on and on. This is just my passion. Mathematics is my passion. I love mathematics, and I want to share that passion with everyone I see and touch. And I want to say that, don't be afraid of the subject. It's just a roaring lion. Once you know, like the Maasai, how to tame them, when they see you, they will bow. They will bow. They will bow. They will bow to like the lions bow to the Maasai. When they see them, they run away, etc., etc. So yeah, I can talk, but I think what I'm ultimately saying is that even if you don't already do so, I would like you to just pick an area, one small area that you remember from your school days in high school or in primary or whatever, and just play with it. Just play with it, and you'll be amazed what the ancestors will reveal to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Brother.
you.
Is there someone else speaking?
I was just saying thank you. That was very enlightening. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Brother Baba Penny, is Brother Nana ready? Brother Nana, are you here? Are you ready? We've got a special presentation coming up where we have Brother Nana guiding 3 speakers who are not English speakers. So he's going to do the translation. Are you in the room, Brother Nana?
Yeah, let me be sure.
Okay.
My presentation yesterday was a bit ad hoc.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that replaces my take because on a program lineup, I think I'm supposed to present on Sumai and that thing before
Yes.
my people come in. So I
But
don't
are
know.
they ready? Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay. I can
Are
come
with
in.
them.
Just
Okay.
give me 1 minute, please.
Okay. While
Also,
Brother Nana is on his 1 minute, please can you go in the chat? I've posted a link to an evaluation form. Can you please make sure you fill that in? It's for both yesterday and today's sessions. And go ahead, Brother Siphiwe.
yeah,
Since you're
thank you. I had a comment on my brother Christian, and then also, I'm still hoping that there will be time for, questions from my presentation that I gave earlier today. We didn't do questions on that, but
Yes.
afterwards, time has been made for others.
Okay.
In listening to my brother Christian, in him talking about mathematics as a foundation for solution and knowledge, it reminded me of the fact that I had initiated this conversation back in November of 2024, when I had, as president of the Pan-African Federalist Movement Communications Commission, I had published this article, African Unity, a Mathematical Equation. And it was an attempt to quantify, right, African unity in a simple way using mathematics that our people could understand. I won't go through it now, but there's a link to the post, and it breaks down the equation. This article is what caused Christian and I to start discussing the issue of sovereignty and unity and being able to express it mathematically. Now, we differed on the equation. We even had some contested debates in various forms about this. But all of this reminded me of the need to express in a precise way what are the components needed to achieve political sovereignty. And so that was my comment in reference to, I understand my brother, I think where he's going with this and the insistence on mathematics. If we don't have that kind of quantifiable specificity and clarity that shows us exactly what the equation is, and therefore we can measure where we are and where we need to go, we will continue in this amorphous arena where we're currently at, where everybody has a bunch of ideas, and there's like a contest where people are competing for the microphone to speak, to be able to give their ideas. But since we lack this sovereignty, right, even if the best idea clearly emerges on how to solve something, whether it be maternal health care, education, language, whatever the subject is, our servers in Africa, whatever it is, once that most brilliant idea is articulated and wins the day, if we don't have the vehicle of political unity, a united African states that has sufficient sovereignty and authority, respected authority, to then issue the law, issue the commands, issue the instructions that will be followed on a continental-wide basis, we will never be able to leverage what our resources, human and natural. We won't be able to organize them in coordinated action. And this balkanization is what allows neocolonialism to triumph. And this is where I know my brother, Christian, is wanting us to get to by introducing sovereignty mathematics in conjunction with spirituality. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Siphiwe. Do not worry, I will make a special time for your questions, for questions for your presentation. Brother Nana, are you ready to come on? Thank you. All right. Go ahead.